Welcome, Wanderer. I have two very good things for you. First, all the details about Season 10, and there's quite some things to unpack. And second, Paladin class may join Diablo 4 in the upcoming expansion. Yes, you heard right. An internal build from Blizzard leaked, and the internal build's name was labeled 2.5x Paladin. Now, that could also be an absolute elaborate troll on Blizzard's side, but we know that patch 2.5 is the label for Season 11, which would make no sense to hold the Paladin because the expansion is going to be 3.0 and will 100% have a new class. That being said, tons of creators are currently at the Blizzard HQ testing some unannounced content. And you might not know this, but last year Blizzard invited tons of us to actually test Vessel of Hatred before it got released. So I guess they might be already playing Paladin at the very moment and give feedback to Blizzard. Now, before you lose all your mind, the PDR for Diablo 4 Season 10 is coming from August the 19th to 26th, and it's going to be the season of Infernal Hordes Reborn, and there is quite some massive patch notes that are so-and-so. First, let's talk about the Infernal Hordes Reborn. Or hotter than ever, we're dialing up the intensity on this incendiary mode. Oh geez, an intern wrote that. How did they refine them? We've done a significant rework of infernal offerings revealed between each wave. Our goal is to try to make all offerings feel valid. That's important because right now sometimes you get 3 choices and all 3 choices are bad. We're doing this by balancing existing offerings, changing the effects of some offerings, and adjusting base monster populations. Give us more. Infernal Hordes should be having so many monsters that you can barely see the screen. At the start of the Infernal Hordes, you will now start with an Infernal offering to immediately stoke the embers and breath some fire into your run. Instead of just having Wave 1 be nothing, Wave 1 finally gets something. The Fell Council has had some promotions. When fighting them, one of their members will now be designated Council Speaker and gain enhanced abilities. I don't think this matters this much, as usually you just blast them into smithereens. And we're getting Chaos monsters. Hell has unearthed a new monster family. Born of smoke and brimstone, these Chaos monsters provide a powerful shrine-like buff when killed. Now this is nice, but the next part sounds really good, and that would be Chaos Waves. Within the Infernal Hordes, you occasionally be offered the choice of Chaos Wave within the Infernal Horde from your Infernal offerings. Instead of going for more Hellborn give more Ether Lords, you can choose, I want to fight a Chaos Wave. You can expect an amount of Chaos Waves offered relative to the Infernal Compass tier each time you enter the Infernal Hordes. Chaos Waves completely alter the upcoming wave, imbuing havoc and intense challenge. These waves will be significant increased difficulty, but reward far more Ether you should be able to survive. Chaos Waves will have many different combinations to discover and master. Dodge deadly projectiles from Chaos Rifts, slay a rampaging Hellworm, or hunt down erratic Ether Goblins. Chaos awaits. And what this talks about is, the Chaos Wave is going to be something like a minigame. Here, for example, you see a portal opening, exploding goblins coming out, and they're trying to explode this etheric mass. If the etheric masses loses a lot of life, you're going to get less ether at the end. So in this Chaos Wave, you have to slay the goblins as quick as possible to have the mass survive to get more ether. And I would assume that this one here is the rampaging Hellworm one. Think about Chaos Waves as kind of mini-games, which is fun because it's going to shake up the process. I did 5 waves, then I do a Chaos Wave, another 2 waves, then another Chaos Wave. I kind of like it. Now, why would we want this massive more ether? And that is because Bartuc, the Warlord of Blood, rather than facing off against the Fell Council, you could choose to risk your hard-earned ether to throw down against the insidious Reborn Bartuc to complete your Infernal Horde run. This is Mr. Bartuc, the new Pinnacle Challenge like Lilith, and he'll play a very significant role in Season 10. The Fleeting Hordes. We're introducing a warming version of the Infernal Hordes to burn through early in your character journey. In pre-Torment tiers, you play this modified version of the Infernal Hordes to slay through before reaching Torment difficulties. Is this going to be my leveling journey now? Because usually Infernal Hordes give you tons of XP. If I can actually fight a 4-way forward with 2 Fell Council members, why would I level anywhere else? Whispers. Sure, I'm going to go into the Helltide. I'm going to pick up the Whispers. I'm going to do the seasonal quest. But afterwards, I'll just live in the Fleeting Hordes until level 60. Now, what does Bartuc do? an infamous Vigeri warlord known for his acts of cruelty performed in the Mage Clan Wars. Bartuc's perversion knows no bounds. He returns to Sanctuary with a new title, the Warlord of Chaos. Each member of your party will need to spend ether to fight the dude. Bartuc will harness Chaos Portals to shoot projectiles at your location. These are the Chaos Portals. Master his tactics and enter these Chaos Portals tactically to gain the upper hand. I think those are the teleporters, the blue ones. Up in defeat, Bartuc rewards will appear on the ground so you do not have to spend additional ether to claim these spoils. Now the thing about Bartuc is, you notice how he has this fire here and there's these chaos waves. I do believe you have to jump in the portals to go between these areas in the map, 1, 2, 3, 4, because he has tons of one-shot mechanics. Imagine Bartuc to not be like the usual boss fight where you just blast them down. Bartuc is going to be one where you have to play the mechanics. May that be good or bad, he's going to be like Lilith 2.0. But if you slay him, he can drop Chaos Uniques. He's the main source of Chaos Uniques. That's what we're getting to now. Because Season 10 will harness the entropy with Chaos Armor. What is Chaos Armor? Chaos Armor is a unique that is a different item. So the Banished Lord's Talisman is a necklace, right? But in Season 10, the Banished Lord's Talisman can drop as gloves, a helmet, a chest piece, pants. What? Yeah, you heard right. That does not mean I can put on 2 Banished Lord's Talismans. But if I play an overpower build, and I get a Banished Lord's Talisman's glove, I can use a different amulet, which could be another unique, or an amulet just with the cool skill ranks. The good thing about Chaos Uniques is, they roll higher. A normal Banished Lord's Talisman has 60%, right? A Chaos Unique will always be maxed out, and then another 20% added on top of it. Boom. As I said, Chaos Armor can be helm, chest, gloves, pants, boots. So the Banished Lord's Talisman can't be a ring, okay? Chaos Armor will always be a different item slot. So a Flicker Step can't be a Flicker Step Chaos Boot. Flicker Step will then always be a pants, a helmet, or whatsoever. This is super interesting. Your Fidate Iris can, for example, be a helmet or be a pants. Your Hooves of the Mountain God can now be gloves, and you can wield different boots. But most importantly, if you keep saying, I can't play the Harlequin Crest, or I can't play the Shroud of the False Death because I need a certain unique there. Well, that's over now, because you could get your chest or helmet unique in a different slot and then equip Harlequin Crest or Shroud of the False Death. The following uniques will be available as Chaos Uniques. From Banished Lord's Talisman, Crown of Lucian, the Flicker Stab, the Godslayer Crown, Locran's Talisman. That was always bad as a talisman slot, but Locran's Talisman as a Chaos Unique somewhere else might actually be very good. Same goes for the Druid. We have the Rotten Lightbringer. That's the weapon for the pulverized super splash puddles, right? Well, that Rotten Lightbringer can actually be going somewhere else. Holy moly. It doesn't have to be a weapon, and then you can actually equip a weapon with an aspect super juiced. For the Necromancer, we could get the Ring of Mendeln somewhere else, or even the Ring of Sacrilegious Souls, which you would never pick up as a ring. But if it is a boot, hey, I would take that as a boot, because usually boot aspects is quite useless on Necromancer. Your Hand of Nazgul is going somewhere else. Why not? This is certainly going to add quite some fun and stupidly set chaos to the fray. Where do you get these now? Well, they can drop from Whisper Caches. There will be a Whisper Cache of Chaos. Every normal unique that drops can be a Chaos unique, and it's going to roughly be 1 out of 8 uniques. And then you have Mr. Bartuc, and Mr. Bartuc is always going to drop a Chaos unique and other items on top, but he always drops a Chaos unique. How does the seasonal mechanic look now? Because that was just Infernal Hordes, but we have the actual season going on itself, and that is going to be Chaos Rifts. Strange portals of crackling energy have appeared across Sanctuary, unleashing the Burning Hell's legions through their open maw. Chaos Rifts materialize in a few different ways. Rifts will appear in the open world of Sanctuary within a hell tide. Kill the demons pouring from them and seal them away for a variety of rewards. They are a greater source of chaotic loot, giving you additional experience, gems, chaos armor in Torment difficulties. In extremely rare cases, when playing Torment difficulties, you may even come across a mythic Chaos Rift. And then Chaos Rifts can also appear in Nightmare Dungeons. And this leads us to Chaos Perks. Yes, we have powers again. You're going to have 1, 2, 3 slots for normal, rare, legendary powers. And then you can put on one of the unique powers. Each class also does have their own powers. Here we get Defile the Dead. It says you consume each corpse twice. Consuming a corpse creates a chaotic burst dealing shadow damage. Chaotic burst is going to be the name of the game, okay? As I said, you can equip 3 non-unique perks, 3 legendary ones, a rare, a legendary, and a magic, however you feel like, and 1 unique perk. How do these perks look now? These are class agnostic chaos perks. Every 5 seconds, your next basic skill generates an additional 100% of your maximum primary resource. Your basic skill deals 30% reduced damage. Not too exciting. Then we get Accelerating Chaos. Damaging an enemy has up to a 10% chance to trigger a chaotic burst on the enemy, dealing 400% damage. Your chaotic bursts that hit an enemy reduce a random active cooldown by 0.5 seconds. Keep that in mind. I said chaotic bursts are going to be crazy. Then we have Unstable Power. Chaotic magics erupt from your basic skills, making them guaranteed to critical strike and overpower. But they have a 3-second cooldown now. You could probably reduce that cooldown to still spam your skills. How would a rare power look? Chaotic bursts randomly erupt around you. That's it. You just do chaotic burst damage around you. Power Siphon. Your core skills deal 100% increased damage, but also reduce your maximum current resource by 20 for 6 seconds. This reduction stacks, but does not refresh. Which means you can spam away, but every spam reduces your resource by 20 until you're at 0 or 6 seconds are over, and then it starts from the beginning. I kind of like this if you use a very low resource skill that costs only 5, 6, 7, 10, and you manage to infinite cast it by restoring resource. So we're going to end up with having maximum 10 resource, but a permanent 100% damage all the time. Could work. Now to the legendary powers. This one is my favorite. You can no longer be healed above 50% life, but you gain 10% maximum resistance to all elements, 40% armor, and 100% increased barrier and fortified generation. Remember this one, okay? You're always going to run around with 50% life. But a unique power says, a beast cornered. For every 10% of your life you're missing, 50%, okay, 5 times. You gain 20% increased damage and 5% damage reduction. Spending resource also drains a percentage of your life equal to 30% of the resource spent, refunding those resources. This cannot reduce you below 10% life. An ultimate super barrier build that goes down with 90% less life, so 9 times 20% more damage, and a huge chunk of damage reduction. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Another one would be killing an enemy generates 2 stacks of chaos, and dealing direct damage to a boss generates 5 stacks. At 100 stacks, unleash a salvo of chaotic bursts, dealing 500% damage, okay? It also says your chaotic bursts, every chaotic burst, have higher critical strike chance and deal 100% increased damage. And that counts for any chaotic burst you're doing with anything. Like Defile the Dead, you can consume each corpse twice, creating chaotic bursts that have then more crit chance and do more damage. Now those would be class agnostic ones, but we also have the ones only for the class. For example, the unique barbarian one says, if you only have one arsenal weapon type equipped, you have more overpowered chance, you heard right, bleed duration, maximum life, and increased damage. For the druid, the unique one says, your companion skills are altered to also be core skills. Your companions grow in size and gain more damage. But the more important one is wild transformation. Shapeshifting into a new form uses a free skill and grants an additional bonus for 5 seconds. That means if you're shapeshifting, you blood howl, you roar, and you cyclone armor. And this is super important because there's a flash render build, and flash render build after the patch now says that if you autocast a skill, it will be used. Before you ask why that is good, there's a whole build with this flash render that does massive explosion on defensive skill cast that clear screens billions, trillions of damage. Is one of the best druid builds. It just causes RSI to your arm. Not if you're actually autocasting skills. And autocast skills actually count, and you get massive more damage by pretty much just shape-shifting around. For the Necromancer, we said you consume each corpse twice, and we do these bonus chaotic bursts. And then as our unique power, your base core skills are now empowered as ultimate skills, cost no essence, but have a cooldown. Okay, we could reduce that cooldown, so we have like super empowered core skills. And your ultimate skills are now altered to be core skills and have no cooldown but cost essence. That's frankly spoken useless because spamming Soul Rift doesn't do anything. Spamming your Bone Storm, nothing. But you could actually spam Bloodwave with this. Just going out, technically. You could also consider spamming Army of the Dead with this. We'll see if Alter the Balance is actually something interesting. For the Rogue, it could be a stun grenade build finally, because it says your stun grenades also trigger Chaotic Burst. And we all know that you can do a full crazy stun grenade build with a Rogue. So maybe we do a full Chaotic Burst super damage stun grenade fun. You do have hit and run. Every 15 meters you move grants you increased damage for 5 seconds. This bonus stacks but does not refresh, which means if you keep moving a lot in this 5 seconds, it's like 50%, 50%, 50%, 50% damage, reset, and then 50%, and so on. For the mage, we have mana-infused conjurations. Your conjurations are empowered and deal 30% increased damage, but each one drains 5 mana per second. Huh. That's actually intriguing. Ice Blade's attack bursts in an area around the target. Lightning Spear hits have a chance to spawn Static Ball of Lightnings. Familiars leave damaging ground after its attacks, and Hydras periodically create firewalls towards the target. And Mana Shield Unique says you have 99% reduced maximum life, but any damage you would take is dealt to your mana before your life. If you have not taken damage in the last 4 seconds, your mana regeneration is increased by 5,000%. You gain 400% increased maximum mana, and each point of intelligence increases your maximum mana by 1. Oh, that Hydra build is going to be even more nasty. What does Spiritborn say? When casting a skill, it deals 30% reduced damage to enemies who are close to you. Woohoo. And 200% increased damage to all other enemies. Intriguing. Convocation of Spirits. Casting a non-ultimate skill has a 1% chance to invoke the spirits of that skill type, which deal 200% increased damage. The chance is increased by 1% of your ultimate skill damage up to 10%. So does that mean I can spam all my skills and just get my spirit halts popping out left, right, and center? Those chaotic powers truly sound like something to finally make cool builds again. Because let's be fair, last season it was basic. It was basic. That's probably the best way to say it. This, though, should be having quite some massive impact. Alone for the Necro, getting that double corpse explosion thingy sounds really funny. And that's just me looking at the Necro and not at all the other things possible. Full chaotic burst build, half life build, Mage not having any more life build. I love it. We're also getting new uniques. Yes, as always, the Barbarian gets the Saber of Sasagal. I said that completely correct. It's damage, strength, fist damage, core skills, warpath. You gain 5% increased damage for each damaging skill you have equipped, an additional 10% for 15 seconds when each of those skills is used. Huh. So we're slapping only damaging skills in our skill bar, and then you go... I mean, it's a one-handed weapon. Barbarian can just slap it on and gets a nice damage boost. Doesn't sound too exciting, but it gives core skill ranks, so that's good, especially with the greater affix. Druid has the Guild of Blackwing, and they're going to make you play Ravens. Raven double damage, more ranks to Ravens, and Ravens deal 100% increased damage, and shapeshifting into a different form or activating a companion skill summons a Raven that attacks nearby enemies. Summoning a Raven has a chance to call forth an unkindness for 10 seconds, increasing the number of Ravens summoned to 3 for the duration. I don't know if a Raven build will ever be viable, but we have that Druid Chaos power that allows your companion skills to be core skills, and then you can just spam them away, so maybe? They also get bigger and do more damage. Possible. Necromancer's 1 sounds really sad, to be honest. Int, max life, basic skill attack speed, and chance for basic skills to deal double damage. All Necro basic skills suck. Your basic skills are empowered. They still suck. Damaging an enemy with a basic skill causes them to take 30% increased damage from your other basic skills for 10 seconds. Huh, so we gotta use one basic skill to have my other basic skills do something. Reap attacks faster, Decompose spawns more corpses, Hemorrhage triggers an additional explosion, and Bone Splinters pierce through enemies. There's not a single basic skill Necromancer. There will never be. Basic skills on Necro are just not good enough. Who made what are you thinking we're gonna build with this? Who at Blizzard thought this is going to lead to a build? I have no clue. Sure, you could use the Path of Track Wool Boots to spawn a Bone Prison to shoot out Bone Splinters, to then have your other skills do 30% more damage. Sadness. Rogue, the Orphan Maker. Great name, by the way. Vulnerable damage, marksman skill ranks, exploit ranks. That's not bad. Marksman skills cast twice. Basic and core skills that use this weapon have to actually, the basic or the core skill has to shoot a crossbow, have now reload. Reload skills gain a 300% increased damage, and every second reload skill gains twice this bonus. Skills with reload have a slight delay in which they cannot be cast again. Their damage and reload speed benefit from 50% of your attack speed bonus. Okay, we're stacking attack speed. Our skills get reload. We're going to be using then 2 marksman skills, and then it's going to be like barrage, penetrating shot, barrage, penetrating shot, barrage, and then you shoot out with 300% increased damage or 600% increased damage. Sorcerer gets a new unique ring, the Galvanic Azurite. Lightning damage, cooldown reduction, elemental synergies, critical strike chance, resistance, and resistance. Unique power. Lightning damage leaves enemies magnetized for 4 seconds, causing them to emit crackling energy and increase all lightning damage they take from you by 60%. If 2 magnetized enemies hit each other with crackling energy, they pull each other together. I mean, I don't actually care if this is good, but I just really want to play this in Infernal Hordes. You're going to play Lightning Spear, and the Lightning Spear goes through, and whatsoever, and everyone just goes like, I pull together, and I like that. Then Spiritborn gets another item you can't pronounce. Hasha Ikizungi. Unique gloves. Attack speed, vulnerable damage, cooldown reduction, gorilla skills. Of the Protector can be invoked at a range and pulls inwards with its smashes. Enemies in its area take increased damage from your gorilla skills, doubled while they're knocked down. Ooh, that's cool. By the way, whoever wrote this, you need a better intern because there's a lot of these issues. Ladies and gentlemen, that would be Season 10. With an improved Infernal Horde, with the chaotic powers, with new uniques, chaos portals, and chaos waves. There is also a giant amount of changes at the end. Some good, more bad, to be honest. Blizzard is doing quite some mistakes here another time, so I hope a lot of these get remedied. That being said, this is going to take another 30 minutes to go through, so I'd rather give you another video where we talk about the patch notes that will appear on the channel shortly. Thank you for watching so far, and tell me your opinion about Season 10, how you felt, what do you think if you're going to play. It definitely does sound better than Season 9. Let's not forget, Nightmare Dungeon Escalation is still in, Horadric Strong Rooms are still in, the Horadric powers are gone. We have a all in all improved game. I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below.